We are living in peculiar times, my friends, where products just don't really make sense. In 2024, we have the AirPods 4 and the AirPods Pro 2, and we're going to be comparing them because this year, Apple's keynote, there were a lot of words. There were a lot of words in that keynote, and I think that was the new feature, was the words, because I'm searching for differences in this year's products versus products of the past. I've got more videos on individual Apple products that I'll be talking about, but today we're going to talk about the AirPods 4. So this is the fourth generation AirPods, and then also the AirPods Pro, which I have in this ESR case. And I've had the AirPods Pro second generation since they very first came out. I absolutely love them. They're fantastic. But I haven't had actual AirPods since I'd say probably the second generation. I have obviously had AirPods from the beginning. And then once the Pro model came out, I didn't really have a reason to buy the third generation. Now that we have the fourth generation, I thought I'd give them a try because they come in such a small, tiny little package. There was lots of features that I was excited to see and try to see if I would enjoy the experience of AirPods over AirPods Pro. Just based off the name, you would think, okay, AirPods Pro, those are better. They have the word Pro in the title. They're probably the best option. When you listen to the keynote and when you look at the feature set that Apple has released with the AirPods 4th generation, you're left wondering what's the difference between the two. So when reviewing headphones or earbuds, it's very hard to give you the experience that I have. So a lot of this is going to be me explaining my experience and talking about the differences that I found in going back and forth between these two different products over the last week or so, as I've been trying to wrap my head around the benefits, the pros and cons of each of these AirPods, considering the fact that the Pros are now a few years old. So with the AirPods 4, it's obvious that the case is relatively small, very tiny. I love how compact it is. It is a wireless charging case and it has USB-C charging down on the bottom of the case. If I open this up, you can see we've got the AirPods right there. Then if we look over at the AirPods Pro 2, yes, they are inside of this case. I've kept them inside of this case since the very beginning to keep the case looking nice and new because I throw my AirPods in my pocket and I have keys and other things in there as well. So, and here's the adhesive for the top. Let's look at them side by side. You can see that the AirPods 4 are significantly smaller than the AirPods Pro. I mean, so much smaller. And this makes a difference in your pocket. If you are putting a lot of things in your pocket, obviously the smaller the device, the better. One thing that you'll notice that the AirPods 4 do not have is a lanyard hook. So you can, of course, attach a lanyard here that may make it a little bit more challenging to drop these if you're carrying them, but I don't see any need to use the lanyard. And of course, the AirPods Pro 2, the current model that I have, is not USB-C. This model is older and it is the Lightning port charging, but I never charge these via Lightning port. Any dust or lint that is in here is from my pocket, not from having used the Lightning port to charge the AirPods. I've always charged them wirelessly, even wirelessly through this case. They charge just fine. So first, let's talk about the fit. Obviously, the fit of both of these are different. One is a traditional in-ear type of earbud, and the AirPods Pro 2 are that. There's little ear tips on here that sit inside of your ear, and so when you put the AirPod Pro into your ear, it sits in your ear and creates a seal. And so you would think that this is going to give you the better audio experience because it's a complete seal. Now, there are benefits to this. Even though I did buy the AirPods 4 that have noise cancellation, it's not a complete seal. When you put the AirPod 4 or fourth generation in your ear, it's sitting on your ear. And so it's not a complete seal. It's pretty good. It's not a complete seal though. And so there's noise cancellation there. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. But you're going to get better noise cancellation out of a complete seal. Now, my experience is that there's pros and cons of having this seal. When I wear my AirPods Pro on an airplane, for example, I have both of them in, I can have a little bit of pressure buildup, depending on maybe how fast the cabin pressure changes in the airplane as it reaches altitude and comes down. I can feel a little bit of pressure being held back that's not able to release as easily from my ear because I have this seal there. Now, granted, Apple has done a good job of making sure that, you know, there's a way for the pressure change not to, I mean, it's not a complete seal. pressure can get through the AirPod Pro 2, but it's not as good as having nothing in your ear at all. I notice a difference when I'm flying, when I'm using over-ear headphones, and I noticed a difference when flying using the AirPods Pro 4. When I'm flying, it's challenging for me to go an entire flight with AirPods Pro 2 in my ears just because of the pressure. And for some people that might be different, as pressure affects all of us differently based on our individual anatomy. And so that could be an issue. If you're sensitive to pressure changes, the AirPods Pro 2 are something to maybe consider not using when you're flying, or only using intermittently when you're flying to prevent that pressure buildup that then could produce a headache or something like that. It definitely isn't that big of a deal. It doesn't bother me too much, but it bothers me enough to mention it. Now, the seal on the AirPods Pro 2 also is going to make sure that all of that audio is channeling into your ear, because there's nowhere else for it to go. However, with the AirPods Pro 4, it sits right in your ear and it is pointing right into your ear. So while there isn't a complete seal there, the audio is still channeling right into your ear. But this is what they would call an open ear earbud. It sits in your ear, and even though it's so close that it might as well be considered an earbud that goes into your ear, there still is not a complete seal there, so they consider it an open ear headphone. So when I have one of each of these in my ears, I could feel a difference. That feeling of having my fingers stuck in my ears and talking, I have that when I'm wearing AirPods Pro 2. Like if you're trying to wear AirPods Pro 2 while you're eating food, maybe something crunchy like chips, it could feel a little bit weird and a little bit disorienting as all of that noise is just rattling around in your head. With the AirPods 4, it's not a complete seal, and so I don't have all of those same experiences. And those don't have anything to do with the quality of the audio or anything like that. It's just a usability experience and things that I noticed. What I can tell with the AirPod 4 is that it is just sitting on my ear. It's sitting there. It's not really attached. It's just perfectly sitting right in my ear. And surprisingly enough, I thought, because it had been a long time since I'd worn AirPods that were not AirPods Pro, that the moment I got on the treadmill, the moment I went outside for a run, the moment I got on my bike, this was going to just fly right out of my ear and it was going to end up on the ground. Surprisingly enough, I had to work really hard to get this to fall out of my ear, considering that it is not going into my ear canal and creating a seal which keeps it in there and makes it easier for it to stay put. The AirPod 4 holds in my ear and I don't really feel worried about it. So let's actually look at these side by side, because the design has changed a bit as well, and the shape is pretty consistent between the two of these. If we look at kind of the head unit here on both of them, they look pretty close to the same. The main difference is there's an actual ear tip here that's going to go into my ear. And the AirPods Pro 2 comes with replaceable tips for different ear sizes, and you can change that out accordingly. The AirPod 4 does not have that. It simply has an open speaker that's going to sit really close to your ear. Looking at the stem size on both of these, the stem size is pretty much about the same as well. Older AirPods had a longer stem, and you would notice that somebody had a standard AirPod versus an AirPod Pro based on the stem size. But the stem size is exactly the same as the Pro, and you could tell even as far as charging goes, it's pretty close to the same. But the AirPod Pro 2 has 2 terminals here, and you can see on the AirPod 4, it has 3 terminals. And so something else is taking place there, maybe for faster charging or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but it was something that I initially noticed. So another thing that I thought of when I first put in the AirPods is, if I'm listening to music loud, how much audio is actually spilling out of the AirPod and available for everybody else to hear. I want to be cognizant, especially as I listen to loud music, to not annoy and affect everybody around me. So we're going to do a simple test here. I'm going to put an AirPod in my ear, and I'm going to turn on really loud music, and we're going to go ahead and see what the decibel reading is on the spill that might come from the AirPods Pro 2. Now, it's been a little while since I have done a test with the AirPod Pro 2, so I'm not 100% sure what we're going to experience. But I'm going to go ahead and hit a track, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this up, and I'm going to wait for that track to kick in. All right, I've got 48.2. Let me hit pause, and let's get a bass room tone here, 46.2. So essentially we're getting about 2 decibels of spill, and if I really wanted to be conservative, it's probably closer to 1 decibel of spill out of the AirPods Pro 2. When sitting in bed and listening to music and my wife is next to me, she could just faintly hear music that's coming out of my AirPods Pro 2. Even if I'm listening to music loudly, she can tell I'm listening to something, but she can't really make out what I'm listening to. So let's go ahead and put in the AirPods 4, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same test. All right, so we have 59.3. That's significantly higher. So we have a lot more spill of audio coming out of the AirPods 4. And obviously that is happening because this is not a closed off design. The AirPod 4 is not all the way in my ear canal. And so music and sound is able to kind of come out of my ear and project outward. And so we're getting a significant difference in audio spill from the AirPods 4. So if annoying your neighbor or wanting privacy while you listen to music or have loud conversations with your AirPods is something that's important to you, you might want to consider the AirPods Pro over the AirPods 4. Now let's talk about audio quality. That was something that I thought was going to be a drastic difference. If I have an AirPod that just sits in my ear and doesn't have a complete seal with my ear canal, then I would assume that the audio quality is not going to be that good. I was blown away the first time that I put the AirPods 4 in my ears. Not only were the AirPods 4 louder than the AirPods Pro 2, but it seemed like the bass was also much deeper. This really surprised me. I was not expecting that because the AirPods Pro allowed me to maintain the assumption that I was going to have pro audio out of the AirPods Pro and that the AirPods 4 just weren't really going to hold. And so when I have the AirPods 4 in my ear and I'm listening to music, I struggle going all the way up to full volume. And so if I'm going to full volume, that's quite loud in my ear. And so I might come down closer to like 80% audio and I get good bass. I have decent highs and mids. Everything sounds pretty good. And if I listen to music that's a lot punchier, like say rap music or something that has a lot of bass, then it's definitely going to rumble a lot more. I'm going to feel that a lot more. Now, I typically listen to hard rock, heavy metal, some electronic music. And so I'm interested in the deep tones, but I also want to hear the crisp highs as well. And that's something that I'm able to experience with the AirPods 4. Now, I haven't actually used my AirPods Pro in the last couple of days. I wanted to spend a bunch of time with the AirPods 4 so that when I go back to trying to listen to the music with the AirPods Pro, that I might be able to really feel the difference. And so I'm going to go ahead and play some music. My initial thoughts is that I can hear the highs a bit better. The highs are more crisp in the AirPods Pro. I think that's probably because of the seal, less spill, and the direct channel right into my ears. I'm getting a bit more highs. But the bass doesn't seem as harsh. It doesn't seem as abrupt. It's a smoother bass. And while I can't really tell which one I would prefer, I'd say probably the AirPods Pro shine in overall audio quality, but I still was really surprised at the AirPods 4. The AirPods 4 being very punchy, sounding really good, and not needing that complete seal in my ears. And that's what led me to kind of abandoning my AirPods Pro the last several days as I've really enjoyed my experience with the AirPods 4. So now let's talk about noise cancellation. I did go for the option that has the noise cancellation. You can get AirPods 4 with or without that. There are two different options. With the noise cancellation, I was surprised at how well that actually works. Considering it's not a complete seal and it's also not covering my ears completely, I wasn't expecting high quality noise cancellation, but it did an amazing job. Now, obviously the AirPods Pro 2 do a great job. It's almost industry leading noise cancellation. Sounds really good. When I'm in a phone call and have noise cancellation turned on, I feel completely isolated from my environment. When I'm listening to softer music or an audiobook or something like that, I feel completely isolated as well. The new features that have been added to the AirPods that allow the AirPods to dip audio when I start talking, and which is a great new feature. I mean, if I'm listening to music and I start talking to somebody, the AirPods recognize that, dip the audio down. I'm able to have that conversation. And then as soon as I finish talking, the audio levels come back up. Now, it doesn't happen as quickly as I would like. There seems to be a bit of a delay, and I'm often hitting the volume button on the side of the phone to kick the audio back up instead of waiting for it to bring the audio levels back up. But I think it's a great feature. It's something that I had on my Sony over-ear headphones where I could just put a hand over the ear cup and it would mute the music and I could just go ahead and have a conversation without having to take my headphones off. So it's a great feature, and that feature is now available with the AirPods Pro 2, and it's also available with the AirPods 4. So with the Pro 2s, noise cancellation is great. I haven't had any gripes there, and whether I'm in like a full noise cancellation where it's removing as much ambient as possible, or I am in more of a pass-through mode where I can hear things that are going on around me, but it's not as loud as if I had the AirPods out completely, I think the AirPods Pro do a great job. Where I was really surprised is how well the AirPods 4. I mean, when they announced that they were going to have an AirPods 4 option with noise cancellation, I thought, how good could those possibly be? When I put these in my ears, I'm going to be able to hear all sorts of noise pass by them. Granted, these will not isolate me as much as the Pro 2s will because they're not a complete seal. But I was pleasantly surprised when I had these in. When I went into the settings and tried these different, you can see it just went from noise cancellation to transparency mode because I started talking. That's the automatic feature here that handles pass-through. When I went into adaptive, I was really surprised. I thought, okay, I feel a little bit of noise cancellation there. When I went into full noise cancellation, I felt relatively removed from my environment. And I knew that if I had these in and I was having a phone conversation, I wouldn't be as affected by external noises as I would have been as if I was using an older pair of AirPods that didn't have this capability. Now, battery life is something that's challenging to test on both of these because I never go for such long stints of using my AirPods that I'm going to run the battery from 100% down to 0. I typically will use maybe 30-40% of the battery life, put them back in the case, they charge back up, and then I just know that at the end of the day, if it's been a heavy AirPod usage day, that I'm going to put these on my wireless charger and top them off. I have a nightstand device that charges my phone, charges my watch, and also charges the AirPods, and it's really easy just to put all of my devices right there and let them get topped off. And so the battery life on the 4s are more than sufficient for a person that utilizes their AirPods quite a bit throughout the day. But the charging case on the AirPods Pro 2 is bigger and is going to be able to top off the AirPods Pro 2 more than the case on the AirPods 4. So what's crazy to me is that the AirPods 4 and the AirPods Pro are so close to the same product that you really have a hard time choosing between the two. The AirPods 4 are quite a bit cheaper than the AirPods Pro. And so that begs the question, which option should you choose? Well, I think the AirPods 4 are great for somebody who wants good audio quality. They're not super active, so they don't need something that's really wedged in their ear that's going to stay in and hold really well. Though the AirPods 4 do a great job, they aren't going to stay put as well as the AirPods Pro do. This person might want some active noise cancellation, but isn't so concerned with being completely removed from their environment like they would be if they had AirPods Pro that are completely sticking into their ears, isolating them completely. You would choose the Pro 2s for the fit, for the audio quality, and the better noise cancellation. So what do you think? Let's talk about it down in the comment section below. It seems that we currently exist in a time where a lot of products are really close to being the same thing with little micro differences that may or may not matter. This presents an opportunity to maybe save a little bit of money if some of those features aren't worth spending the extra dollars on. I don't know if Apple's trying to separate their product lines into different times of the year, perhaps maybe releasing AirPods in the fall and AirPods Pro in the spring in an attempt to sell more products because the AirPods 4 are really that good. Who knows what their tactics are, but it is getting a little bit confusing as to what product you should choose. So let's talk about it down in the comment section below. I've got links to both of these products in the description. Check out those links to see pricing. You can get them on Amazon. There's a handful of other places that you can get them that have excellent return windows in case you decide that that model's not right for you. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you back in another one soon. Take care.